Welcome back, everybody. It's 2023, almost 2024, and I am honestly, I'm a little bummed. Just like this box of Costco cookies, it is about empty. It's kind of how I felt USA did. And yes, there is some spoilers to this. I don't know if anybody wanted to spend $40 for the MXGP live feed. I mean, you can watch it on YouTube if you would like. It was on CBS earlier today. And it would be nice to get back to the sport, right? I've got a lot to talk about here. And yes, in my title, talk about it was the best race of 2023. And it's a caveat there because yes, it was an incredible race in almost all of the motos, all three of them. There was a good race up front. And just because I'm American here, and if you don't follow MXGP as much, you don't have as much of a connection with the MXGP guys, which we need to try to help blend this so that you can feel more for a underdog or somebody that you want to try to succeed, whether it's Adamo for the MX2 champ or Prado for the MX1 champ. Like, there was a lot of guys there. The crowd, there was over 102,000 people at the race. That is insane. If you watch the Super Motocross playoffs, those were in basically NASCAR stadiums where some of them were a little bit smaller, where they could only hold like 46,000 seatings, I believe, in Chicago. And that place was relatively empty here, right? So MX of Nations is gigantic. Gi-effing-ganic. And I don't understand. I do understand, but my point is like, as a fan, why we don't send our best. Yes, I'm not shitting on USA because those guys could ride circles around me with their eyes closed. We had Craig, we had RJ, we had AP. I do agree AP was the guy to bring over there. The other two I would have really liked to see Sexton and Deegan, truthfully. And whether or not we need to have it every 2 years could make it more of a prideful event. Or, yeah, freaking, I was talking with my wife. She was like, no, leave it every year. It doesn't need to be just the Olympics. And I'm like, yeah, but these guys are so burnt out. And she goes, there you go, Johnny. There's the reason. It's the whole United States, run them till they're broke. And it's how we do business over here. Our Monday through Friday, work over the weekend, work 60 to 80 hours. I mean, she's becoming a doctor. She's doing 80 hours. Like, we've got this mindset that there's no work-life balance. And I believe that's why most of the riders don't want to go over there, is because they don't want to see a motorcycle. Yes, it's prideful, but they don't want to see a motorcycle. They don't want to ride. They want to take a week break. I believe Chad Reed said it on Gypsy Tales about a year ago as far as the Motocross of Nations, and he basically just kind of said the same thing. It's burnout. You want the guys to go over there, we need a shorter series, but then you've got the whole Peacock scenario with this influx of money where we have to have the whole 33 races in order to make the sponsors happy. Like, it's crazy, right? And Ken Roczen is doing it right. He's picking the races he wants to race, and he goes out there and he does it for fun. The Motocross of Nations should be a play race. Plain and simple. There's not a whole lot of money behind it unless we have a big-ass billionaire that decides to say, hey, it's $1 million for the country or whatever, whoever wins it. Then you could have like political problems with not giving it to the riders, like the country actually that takes the money, sort of what's going on with Super Motocross, which now in contracts, they're probably going to have agents say, hey, I get a good 80% of the SMX money if we do get any, right? But that's my whole point, is it is tiresome, and it should be a play race. 100% should be a race just to go over there, and who gives a crap how you did? Like, truthfully, we knew as fans that this was a warm-up race for Craig. RJ, unfortunately, is fast as hell, but he ends up putting his ass on the ground, and that's exactly what he did a few times. Actually, all of them did. AP came out swinging in the first moto. I got to look back at the results a bit with a fourth, dude. That he finished third in the motocross series. Like, that is the dude we should have brought. The other guys was not our best team. okay? And we were defending champions over here in America. It's just a bummer. It's hard to not defend riders not wanting to go over there because, A, it's a lot of money for teams. We're living in an economy right now of high interest rates. Nobody wants to throw money at stuff. They want to get ready for 2024. They've got stuff behind closed doors. Kind of what happened with Cooper Webb with KTM. We've never seen somebody get Ixnay'd in the mid-season, so he couldn't go race World Supercross. Like, these guys are intellectual property, and big corporations, as far as factories, will do and say no to these riders if they even want to go over there, because they signed on the dotted line saying, you're going to make money for us here in America. We needed to sell bikes. That is something that you need to understand as a fan, but it is unfortunate. And back to Ken Roczen, winning the overall. Finally, effing beats Jett straight up. Yes, in the last moto, he was winning out front for the majority of it. It looked like, was it Hangtown this year? Where Kenny's just out front, hopping around, big deep ruts. Even though that over there in France, it was a very hard pack. I kept thinking to myself, like, what kind of a setup are these guys running? Are they running traction control because of how slippery it is, because so many guys were going down? Are they running a stiffer setup because it's very choppy and Kirby-like? They want to be able to have that back end to get back in behind them. I want to say that it was more of a stiffer setup than what they're used to, even though that track had some good lines to it. I loved the track over there. It had some good elevation, and it had a lot of lines that were an inside or outside, multiple S turns. There was different lines you could take, but they usually funneled into the same exit, which made it hard to pass. There wasn't a whole lot of guys that could do stuff, and I really liked the format of the 6 motos, where you've essentially got 450 Pro, 250 Pro, and Open Pro, and they split them up between Moto 1 is Open. No, it's 450 Pro and 250 Pro, and then Moto 2 is 250 Pro and Open Pro, and then Moto 3 is Open and 450. Like, I love that. And as far as the standout rider on the 250, you got to give it up to Tom Vial. I've been saying it all year, dude. This guy knows how to freaking ride that bike. He's not a defending champ because he let his championship slip away because he came over here in America, but he almost won Moto 2 over there to beat his teammate on the French team, Renault. And if I'm talking about Renault, I have to really, if I had to say who I was the most impressed out of everybody there, Jett Lawrence. We all know that I'm an analytical mofo when it comes to like really trying to look at this stuff. Like, hey guys, here's some lines. Like, rap. This is what I wish I could do. Rap. This is what I wish I could do in a video game. Blah blah blah. This isn't Red Bull's imagination, which that stuff is absolutely freaking sick, but I'm digressing. I'm moving over. The rider that I was the most impressed with was Renault. Yes, he seemed very fluid, very at one with the motorcycle, and he was able to make some kind of Jett Lawrence lines out there. Out of everybody there, I was most impressed with Renault, with him going, 1-3? So he would have been like if the Open champion there. But Kenny, you got to give it up to Kenny for finally beating Jett, even though Jett ended up beating him in Moto 3 there, because I believe he got a 7th? Or no, he got a 6th in Moto 1. But he did come from 40th. Jett came from 40th to 6th. That is abso-effing-lutely insane. I do think Jason Thomas did an amazing job as far as being a broadcaster. He was very knowledgeable, didn't mispronounce anybody's name, and was able to give you good little tidbits here and there. I really, really enjoyed the 3-hour broadcast that they did, and it makes me more of a fan of the event. I am super pumped. And I have to give it up to the video sponsor, Precision Transport. These guys have helped out these live shows so much. They are a freight company. You can call them at 877-827-0618. Whether you need to move heavy equipment, or you're building a track, or you're just moving, or you run an own business as well, and you just need to, move a bunch of broken out cars or whatever it is, call these guys up. They are big fans. They sponsor riders. They own a jiu-jitsu gym as well. These guys are the ones to go to. Make sure that you are using Precision Transport. And if we're talking about Team France, if we're backing up about Team France, because I'm talking about Renault, Febvre comes out, wins Moto 1. We had a podcast. I had Jeff Walker and Ryan with MX Guru. Check it out every Friday at noon Pacific time. And we talk about a lot of this stuff. I said France was going to win, right? I said France was going to win straight up, and that's what they did. Spain with Prado. Dude's fast as hell on a bike, but his teammates, but Dez almost won that second moto, ended up having to get kicked out and high side a bunch because that track seemed like something that you needed to be on traction control, which I feel like, man, that track was so gnarly. And honestly, on the broadcast, the guys were given an out for Team USA. Not that we brought the B team, because we kind of brought, I would say, a lowercase a team. I mean, these guys were fast, but they weren't our best. Because truthfully, the United States guys didn't really win much over here. It was other guys in other countries that won the major supercross and motocross, and besides Super Motocross Championship, just in the 250 class with Deegan. It was guys from Australia. They're the guys that won everything, And Kenny, I wrote Kenny off a little while ago. After last year with what was going on with his arms, he just looked like he didn't want to do it anymore. He straight up said that he was ready to retire, and that's not a good mindset to be in, right? But now that he went as an independent contractor and went with Suzuki, man, I hope they have an electric start now, because I damn near want a Suzuki from everything that he's been doing. Really? And I forgot to mention that this doesn't typically happen. Usually Moto 1 is the best racetrack that these guys are on, or like in Supercross, it's Heat 1, maybe Heat 2, and when they go to qualify with MX of Nations, it's the day before. But as far as here in a motocross, we want things done fast forward. We don't want to spread anything out. We don't want to take our time with anything. We just want to pack as much freaking shit in there as we can. And that's possibly the reason as to why a lot of our riders don't want to freaking go over there, is because they packed in too much stuff. They have a lingering injury. Look at Hunter. I can't believe the dude was even able to ride. And they ended up getting second place for Team Australia. So I am bummed that the United States got 8th. Absolutely bummed that they got 8th. But my point was, usually it is the first guys on the track. It's the best track of a night show. Qualifying, sometimes it's qualifying session number 2 during the day, because it's ripped real deep. But this was different. The last moto of the day was the best. And that's when we saw the guys that live over here in America, Ken Roczen and Jett Lawrence, really get out front and make a move. They didn't, I wouldn't say rode to what we expected of them in the first couple motos, because it was very hard pack, very choppy, huge holes, very tight. That track was very, very tight. And I am a little biased as to thinking, what kind of equipment did the American guys bring over there? Did they just bring the factory bikes that are here that they normally ride and test? I mean, that would be the smart thing to do, but then you're racing against basically works bikes over an MXGP. So really, it's not that fair if I'm just spitting something out there to potentially start an argument with everything. And yeah, Tim in the chat is saying Johnny rant mode. That's exactly what I like to do, especially on these live shows. Man, the Australian motocross, well, it wasn't all motocross. It was the first race of Supercross that came out here too. You could watch it for free. I believe you go to worldsupercross-tv.com or .tv, and you can watch it. Everyone should go check that out too, because as a consumer, there's so many races to watch, so many things to consume here. But as a rider, you got to really pick and choose. And if I have to say, even what I said a couple weeks ago in my live show, as far as who was the biggest surprise of 2023, it is absolutely Ken Roczen, being able to pick and choose what he wanted to do, and he did a lot. Red Bull Rhythm, Super Motocross, Supercross, World Supercross, MX of Nations. Like, that sounds like an incredibly full schedule, but it wasn't entirely what he's used to. He actually had less races, even though he entered more series. Isn't that like mind-blowing? It's mind-blowing. You got a guy that's traveled all over the world, and he actually raced less races than he would have normally done if he was contracted just through HRC Honda to race the full season of motocross. And I'm pretty sure he probably made pretty close to the most money he has ever made, and he's freaking 30. Got like 2 kids now. I mean, he's 29, but he's there, right? You're rounding it up. If it's an odd number, you round up. It's just how it freaking goes. And I can't believe it that he has rejuvenized his career. I'm super pumped. But to keep the banter to go down, I'm bummed. I am bummed. I'm bummed out as a fan. Like, I need to go get some more sugar in my system, because I just still believe that United States, we didn't bring our best guys. It should be a play race. You guys hear me repeat myself. It's because I really just trying to wrap my head around every 2 years, every 4 years. No, it should be every year, less races, bring the best here in for America, have a big purse money, do something. I mean, here over in the United States, everyone is super motivated by money. In MXGP, there's actually really not even a purse, right? Unless you're on a team, you don't get paid by each round. Here in America, you get paid. Privateers get paid. Yeah, it's not that much, unless it's Super Motocross. We were talking on my live show that some of the privateers finishing 20th, make 30, 40 grand at the Super Motocross. That paid for relatively their whole season, but it's not also to pay for their mortgage and things like that. It's not that much, right? I don't know. I'm digressing all over the place. So, you know what? I am signing off here. I have got a date with my daughter so that we can go see, Paw Patrol? Yeah. Freaking Paw Patrol. Gotta love that. You know, little 2-year-olds there. But until next time, guys, keep it WFO. And I can't wait for more Australian Supercross and the World Supercross. Keep it tuned. Bra da 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 whoa. Da 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 da. Read the chat as a brr go brr brr brr.